All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I don't see anybody here this morning so far, but we'll go ahead and do the session anyway, because some of you may watch on the recording and pick up the information from there. This week we will be on Chapter 5, which is Remote Access Configuration. And this one's a fairly short little chapter. Not a whole lot in it, but it's on how to do remote access, which is going to be an important one out there for you working with servers. That you may well be working on a server that is at another location instead of being at the location of the server. So you may have that. You could also be working on servers that you have on the cloud, but you won't be really used. You could use remote access for them sometimes, and then sometimes you're just connecting directly into them. But it would be technically remote access also, because they're not on location. But there's several different ways you can work with it going into the cloud, and you've got servers located in the cloud. But even if you've still got physical servers there and you're working with those, remote access is something entirely possible. There's a couple of servers that for a good while there I was working on in South Georgia, up here in Northwest Georgia. I had set them up down there, and then with me up here, they would call me when they had problems with them, and I would just remote access into them. Used several different products. Initially used Norton's PC Anywhere, and then a remote desktop connection on going in and working on them. And that they could call and I could work on them, and working on them with your remote access approaches, and also working on PCs, which they're going to show you in the chapter also, because you have to have a Windows 8 machine set up for that also. So that you can see how to go into these different machines remotely, and I could work on them and fix them normally, unless it was something where the machine was just shut down from it. And then sometimes I could actually tell them what to do based on what I saw and what they observed, and we could get it working. Or that if it was one I could get into, I could actually, it's just like if you go in remotely on them, it's just like you're right there on the machine. So even though I was 280 miles from the machines, I was working on them from up here as if I was sitting right there on the machine, and that was desktops and servers. I did make a couple of little changes just then in Chapter 5 in Blackboard. I noticed there was a couple of little editorial changes needed making. I still had a note in there from when I used to have discussions on just limited chapters, and that you had to do, this was one of the chapters you were supposed to do a discussion on. We're not doing that approach. I'm not doing that approach now. That now the school requires a discussion every week, and I come up with a discussion topic for you each week to do. Now, if anybody was watching this live, they would get out of the discussion this week. Next week, if you watch this one on the recording, then next week, if you watch it live, and I'm scheduled to do these at 9 o'clock each Monday morning. I did that last Monday morning also for the motel. Then you don't have to do the discussion that week. That's the one that starts this week, and then that would be the one that starts next week for that date. And so that's there. But what I did do in there was I removed the paragraph about having to do a discussion on the chapter. It's built in otherwise for you discussion every week. It's in discussions. I also edited where it said to go to DreamSpark Imagine to get your copy of Windows 8.1 Professional. Book says use Enterprise, but we got to use Professional because that's the one available to you now. And it's at the Azure Tool Dev Tools for Teaching. That's the new name for what used to be Imagine. Before that it was DreamSpark. Before that was MSDN and it was something else before that. I can't remember what it was. Doesn't make any difference anyway, unless I get on a Microsoft Trivia show. that then I did make the change on that for you out there. And if you just go out and just do a Google search on Microsoft, on just Azure Dev Tools for Teaching, it'll pop up the link for you right off the bat that you can click on and go to, and then you use your school email and school email password. Your school email address is your username, and your school email password is the password. Same username and password you use to get right here in the Blackboard. And then if you search down the list, you'll find Windows 8.1 listed down there. Now realize it's an alphabetical list, and that 8 comes after 10 because 8 is higher than 1. It's not looking at the whole number, it's just looking at digit by digit. So you'll have to scroll over all of the Windows 10 products there, and then you'll find Windows 8 down below it. And there's only one Windows 8 product listed there. So they're going through and showing you how to do your remote access role of setting it up for the server to be able to access in PCs, and also for people to be able to access back into your server. I think the chapter should be fairly straightforward for all of you. Most of you probably have not done this at all, but you have a concept of it and have heard about people work on machines from remote locations. On the machine at other locations. For instance, the school has it set up, although I've never taken advantage of it and set it up for me, so that they've got it set up where we can remote desktop into our PCs here at work. I haven't set that up yet on mine, but they have the stuffs out there for it and some set on it. I've chosen not to do that. And so that's the big ones on that. I have done some grading in your class. There's one class I've still got to do some grading in before I get to going deeper in all the others, because I have graded something in every class but one now. And that is my PHP class, and I'm going to try to get to those. This week should be a fairly normal, quote, normal week for me. This week should be like it was originally planned, as far as I know. Today I'm here at Walker, and I'll be doing these collaborate sessions all day. Now I've got one more because I took over one more class a couple of weeks ago for Julia Hopkins while she is out. So I've got sessions at 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, and 2 o'clock. Tomorrow and Thursday I have classes in the morning, class in the morning here from 9:30 to 11, and then at Whitfield Murray from 12:45 to 2:15, and with a 45-minute drive back and forth over to Dalton. That fills up the day right there. Although I am on email in the morning and try to check email between the classes and such. Wednesday, I should be able to work on classes all day that day, as far as I know, that I will be on campus. I'm planning to be at Walker all day that day. And then Friday, I should be around Friday morning, as far as I know. However, you never do know what I may get sent off to or whatever, so things could change. Because until Thursday before last week, I didn't know I was going to be going last Monday and Tuesday to the AWS training. The state is setting up a another specialization in networking, which I'm working with them on. That I'm the one actually chaired with that job back in the fall. We're setting up a specialization for cloud and specifically leaning towards AWS on it, although each school will have their choice. We'll do AWS when we put it in here. It won't be available until fall. I'm quite sure they're saying maybe summer. I don't see it available till fall, and we won't have it scheduled till fall at the earliest. I am AWS certified for the first course already, and I have to be certified to teach their courses using the Academy. So I've got 3 more courses to do on that. I started a class last week from Cisco that's covering 2 of their classes on IoT, and working on the first one right now. Turned in my first assignment last night, but he's given us a pile of assignments to do. And then the second assignment I want to do doesn't work in the new version of Packet Tracer, like they have it laid out. You could get it to work, but it's just not the way they've described how to do it. So I found out it works in 7.2 instead of 7.3, so I got to redo it. And I'll probably just do the rest of those in that class. In that, I've got 7.2. So that there should be what's coming up. And like I say, you are going to be going through, you'll also be setting up VPNs in this chapter. And a VPN is very important if you're doing the remote access to another machine. It would be very helpful to use a VPN to do it, so that you can have a secure connection across and that you're encrypting and stuff between your machine and that machine. So that's another one that you do encounter and talk about in the chapters of VPNs. And I think that's everything. There's nobody in here to ask me any questions. Next week, I'll be around Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but Thursday and Friday, I will be off campus. I've got a district Kiwanis mid-year training to go to that Thursday and Friday up in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. But I will be online probably a good bit of that day on Thursday and on Friday, because some of the stuff is on later in the day on Friday, and then on Saturday we've got stuff from early in the morning till sometime in the afternoon, and then we call it ends, and I'll come back home. So I'll be online through that, although I'll be off campus. So that'll be going on that one. As far as I know, otherwise I'll be around. The following week, Thursday and Friday, is staff development school-wide meeting days. The entire faculty is required to attend Thursday and Friday. We got training on Thursday, and then on Friday a school-wide meeting, and we have meetings all day that day. Both days we got to go to Calhoun for the whole day. During those days, I will be offline during the day. Should be online in the evening on Thursday. Now Friday I may not be online that day at all after having to go to Calhoun and such. And then the following week after that, I'm in North Carolina for a Cisco conference on Tuesday in Pinehurst, and Wednesday through Friday for a computer and training conference for the rest of that week, which will be interesting, learning some things at both things. But I will be that Monday. Got to drive up to North Carolina because first meeting starts early Tuesday morning, because we run all day, like 9 to 5 on Tuesday, and then even have a dinner event that night. Wednesday, Thursday's the same way. Wednesday, dinner event again. Thursday that way, and then probably go out to dinner with several others from some other schools I know. And then Friday they actually got out about noon, so then I got to drive back home from there. But Monday that Monday, something like the 8th, let me see. Looks like it is the 9th, March the 9th. I will be doing the sessions, is the plan right now. I'll be doing the sessions from here at school before I go, and then I'll be driving up there. So for y'all's purposes, and then I'll be online in the evening all week. So that's there on that one. All right, there's no questions because there's nobody in here. So I'm going to stop the recording. But if any of you have questions along the way on the materials, be sure to drop me an email and ask me questions. I do have last week and the previous week's recording transferred up to YouTube and sitting over in recordings now. That additional entry I made on the list there in Blackboard down at the bottom of it, where you can go watch it from there. You don't have to hunt around to find the recording for those 2 weeks out there in Collaborate. We'll try to do these this evening, the ones that I can, but I'm doing, I said, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. 6 of them today. And it takes a while to download, upload, and also create the link to put in there for them all. So we'll see how many I get done. And then I really need to work on some stuff at home also. So I will talk to y'all later, and join me in the session next Monday at 9 o'clock.